Alright guys, getting ready to tear into these flippers and disassemble them even more. So this is my driver's side flipper. I've already removed some parts and separated the two halves. And now I'm getting ready to go in here and drill these rivets out here. There's two on holding that bracket on, and there's two holding that bracket on. Now I did get on Google a while ago, and I was actually looking for replacement nails or pins, whatever you want to call these things. This is actually, if I can show you this, this pin has an oval head. It pretty much looks like a nail, but they have squished this in flat to keep it from coming out. So if you're going to remove that, of course you'll have to try to, cut that down or grind it down or something to get it out. I was looking around to see if I could find those in stainless so I could polish them up, and I wasn't having any luck. There's all kinds of stuff on there. I found some surgical things. I used my caliper and calipered them out, but anyway, I couldn't find anything that matched in stainless steel. I kind of thinking about going to Lowe's and looking around to see if they have any stainless steel pins, just to crisp them up a little bit. But technically you don't need to take that part of the bracket apart. You can just clean it up and reshoot it and put it back together. But I just, for a detail thing, I was trying to think of a way to put something in there that'd be kind of nice. But anyway, so what I've got is a 7/32 drill bit in my cordless drill, and I've got it set on the #1 setting so it turns slow. And I'm just going to stick it on the back side of that flared part of the rivet, and I'm going to have to put tape on here. And I'm going to drill that until that mushroomed out part of that rivet disappears, and at that point I'll knock them out with a little tiny punch and a hammer and then remove the pieces. Anyway, I do want to talk about this right here, because if you're not familiar with them, you might think that you need to straighten them out. Now if you look at this flipper, if I try to hold this is the part that mounts to the roof, and it goes on like that, but if I turn it upside down so you can kind of look down at it, you see that this side piece here is actually angled. So it's more of a V shape instead of an L shape. So don't think your whole thing is bent over. You don't want to straighten that. That's the way it's made. So anyway, I'm going to get to it. I'm going to start drilling these out, and man, I tell you, it's kind of scary. If you kind of went in there pretty aggressive on there, drilling the back side of that rivet, it could grab and pull and then rip out the metal. And I'll show you if I can find it right here. This is what can happen if you're a little bit too aggressive with your drill bit. It can, once you start drilling it, it can pop through there and open that hole up bigger, but this one, it actually ripped the top piece out here. Now this is a spare flipper piece. I'm not going to use it. It's pretty rough, especially on the end down here. It's split and just beat all to hell. So I'm not using it. So this was just, I didn't care if it messed it up. You know what I mean? But anyway, these I have to be careful with. But anyway, I'm going to remove these rivets on all this stuff and get all the other pieces off there. And then, it's time to blast everything and try to paint everything. The bad thing is we're expecting snow in just about an hour or 2 hours, so I'm probably not going to have time. If I do, I'll go ahead and try to blast them out there real quick, but I just kind of haven't decided what color I'm going to do these plates in. Now I did buy some spray paint probably a year ago for other things, and it's called stainless steel. Like, the color is supposed to be stainless steel. It kind of resembles stainless steel, but not really. So I thought I would spray a part of it and stick it up in there. Originally this is like a CAD plated or whatever. This one actually looks dark gray compared to one of these other ones that looks more like zinc or silver CAD when you look at it. And it could be the difference in the years. I don't know. Again, not a 100% original guru on these things, but this looks more like a zinc plating here. But this here looks like that black or dark gray color that you see on like springs or something. You know what I mean? So my car's custom, so I don't really care as long as the color's kind of nice. But I would like to have the parts nice and glossy and nice, shiny, with no pitting craters in there from rust. So I'm probably going to end up using a bunch of different pieces from all these extra flippers just to make a beautiful set. So what I got going on is, you know, I briefly touched on part one, the rivets for the flippers. These are stainless steel, and that's what they are, is two-door hardtop flipper rivet set. So they're not very expensive. Now you can use a rivet squeezer, which looks like basically a pair of pliers, or you can use the one that mounts to the, like a table, and you can use it as handheld and you can push down on it to tweak them out. The way I did the first ones was the way most people do them when they restore them in their garage. I just used a couple of punches, and that's the part that I wasn't real happy with on the first set I did. What I ended up doing was I used, so I, you know, take a basic punch, and this is the way I did the old one, and I'm going to do it different now. I took the punch and I clamped it in my vise upright like that. So the flat end went to the rivet right there, and I had a buddy of mine holding the back of it kind of straight. And then I used another punch on this side that I had ovaled this a little bit with a grinder. And anyway, I stuck it on that new rivet and I hammered the fire out of it. And I put them back in there, but it doesn't look really nice on the back part of the rivet. It's not a nice circle. It's kind of squished and beat looking on the back. So that's another thing that kind of bothered me about them. But anyway, what I'm doing this time is a little bit different approach. I've got a buddy of mine that is a gunsmith, and he has some pretty neat tools. And I noticed he had a pretty specific set of punches, so I called him and talked to him, and I cannot remember. I think he called it a roll pin punch set. But anyway, he called it a nipple. They basically have a nipple on the end of them. And so I got on eBay and I put it in there, and it actually said on that listing, the ones I bought, it said it was for gunsmithing. But it's actually a roll pin punch set, and it has what he calls a little nipple on the end of it. So that is the part that you'd want to put on the back side of the rivet to get that thing to kind of mushroom out a little bit. So anyway, that whole set, from real tiny to kind of big, was only like $12 or $14 on eBay. So I ordered them. Hopefully they'll come in this week. I just checked the deal there, and the tracking number's been provided, but they have not been shipped out yet, so that's kind of crappy. I might end up just driving to his house and borrowing his punch. I'm just not quite sure what size punch yet that I'm going to use. But anyway, the punch that I am going to clamp in my vise upright is this one, and I modified this a couple of days ago. This is going to be the new way I'm doing it. When I did my regular old steel punches on the first set, it kind of, a couple of them, it had dented around where the rivet, I had knocked it a little bit too hard, and it actually sunk it in a little bit around the rivet, which is not that big of a deal, but it really kind of marred up the head a little bit. It was a steel punch on stainless steel. So this time, I took my old brass punch, this thing's old, I've had this for a long time, and I reflattened the end and kind of chamfered the edge a little bit. But I took a ball burr on my die grinder and I stuck it down on there to put a little dome, inverted dome in there. So then, when I stick the new rivet up through there and through the plate, I'm going to clamp this one in the vise, and I'm going to lay that head of that rivet on that brass punch, and then chisel or hammer punch the backside. So that brass punch won't mar up that stainless. So, brass is pretty safe for not, gulling stuff up. So that's how I'm going to do it this time, but I do have to wait for my other punch set to get here, or if it's not here in time, in the next couple of days, I will go over and see if he'll let me borrow one of his. He's kind of I don't know if he'll loan anything out, and I kind of hate to ask him, but he may want me to leave a kidney with him or something to borrow him. But anyway, so that's the plan. Start busting these apart, and I'm going to go, my part one video and then this little segment here is a lot of talking, but I'm going to go into more detail with the camera set up on a tripod, and you'll actually get to see me working these over a little bit. I'm going to show how I sand and polish stainless steel and get scratches out and that type of stuff. And if I have some little dingers and high spots, which I got a little tiny one, and some people probably wouldn't even fix this, but I'm going to. A little bitty high spot right there, little bitty tiny one. If I've got access to the back of it anyway, which I think I do. I'm going to try to work that over, and I'm going to sand and polish it my way. And when you sand and polish stainless for an old car, I mean, the professionals that have decades of experience in doing that, they use all kinds of different wheels. Well, I shouldn't say all kinds, but they use a couple of different wheels and lots of different rouges. I use one wheel, one rouge, and to me it's just the secret in the secret's in as far as you go on the paper. If you go really, really far, high grade on the paper, it almost has it polished by the time you're done sanding it. And then when you do hit it with the buffer, it doesn't take but a second to get a gleaming shine to it. So it kind of saves me steps doing it that way. So anyway, I'm going to get started on this. Now this front bracket, which I'm going to swap it out because this one's pretty worn out, I need this piece here, so I'm going to put some tape, a couple of layers on this part of the stainless here, just so I don't get into it with the side of the drill bit and tear something up here. Better do this one back here as well. I might end up using my Galaxy Gray Pearl base coat clear coat on these brackets and this rear plate because it's my accent color, but I do want to try that stainless steel spray paint. Anyway, let's go ahead and see if I even got room to get in there. This is kind of scary. I'm using an old crappy drill bit, so yeah, I got into it right there a little bit with the drill bit. So, man, I wish I had a sleeve to put on that. Let's just do a redneck sleeve here. Put a little tape around the bit there. If I had a brand new drill bit, this would probably be a little bit easier. Okay, so I've got just a cheap body hammer here, and it has this flat end on it here. Now this has, I've taken my Rolock disc in the past and I've rounded this all the way around, just kind of chamfered it a little bit. You don't want anything sharp if you're going to use this to dolly out stainless. So anyway, it's been sitting over there. Now who knows, if I have used this on the body and it might be, have a little something on it. So I'm using a jeweler's file, and I'm just making sure that there's no high spots sticking up off this or any, something irregular, I guess, or out of whack there to mess that up. So anyway, I'll take this. Now I put my heel dolly in here and just kind of run over it with my Rolock lightly just to make sure there's no high spots in here. And I do not recommend trying to knock dents out of stainless trim that's thin like this on wood. Like put wood down and then do it, because wood will give. When you hit it, it will, that wood's going to give underneath it. You want something hard on there. That way it doesn't go too far. So anyway, I got my little, actually I'll tell you what I'm going to do right now is a little bit of steel wool, 4/0 steel wool, and I'm going to clean this off on the back because you can see the rust from the metal backing plate that was on there, and kind of semi-shine this up, and what that's going to do is help me see it on the back side. If this is shiny back here, I'll be able to see. And I might be able to see something in here that I couldn't see from the outside. So the straightening process on this flipper stainless is the same as all the other stainless on the car. It's best to just go slow when you're trying to work dents out in this stuff. Go really, really slow and use light pressure. That way you don't, go too far with it and stretch it out too much. Okay, so now I've got a little bit of shine on the back side of it. I see a high spot right there. I don't know if you can see this, see if I can point at it here. Where did it go? Right there is a little bitty tiny high spot right there. So I need to put a mark around that so I can see it. I can't see too good up close, so I've got these glasses on, but these glasses are actually just from my local Dollar General store. It's just reader glasses. They're like $7. This is not, by any means professional eyeglasses, but it's all I got, so I'm going to have to make it work. I wish I still had my jewelry magnifiers. I used to have the headband goggles that you pull down and they're magnified and you can really see stuff when you work on jewelry. I'd kind of need something like that. Again, where is my other mark? Well, I've got something circled there, but I don't see it. Yeah, there's nothing there. That's just a scratch, so that's not a dent. So I don't have to worry about that one. It's just these two is all I have to worry about right now, and they're pretty close together. I'm still having a difficult time finding that. Trying to get the light fixture in it so I can see. Man, I gotta tell you, I still can't see it. Dang it. Alright, I'm going to use a little Mother's Mag and aluminum polish here, and I'm going to polish a little bitty area of this. Because I cannot see this second mark. I can see it out here, I can see the ding, but I can't see it on the back side, and it's usually pretty easy to see. I can't believe how hard that is to see. Golly. I still can't see it. That's amazing. I can clearly see, I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not, but I can see a dent right here. Right in the center of that. But I'll be danged if I can see it on the back side. So I'm just going to work that area right there. Alright, so now I'm going to put this flat on that dolly. And I'm going to work that. That's the sound you want to hear right there. Okay. And this was the one I was having a difficult time trying to find, so. Ooh, I almost got that out. Almost perfect. Just little bitty light taps. It'll move. Oh, I got that. All right, so what I'm going to do here now is, this is a jeweler's file. This is for like gold. It's not real coarse, so it is what I always use to get the high spots out after the hammer work here. So I'll lay that there like that. I'm just going to do this number. And I can feel this grab when I first start out. You can feel it kind of grabbing, and it's grabbing that high spot. It's very, very slight, but it's grabbing it, and then it goes away. So pretty much that quick, it's removed that. Okay, so that's not big gouges and deep scratches that you can feel. It's just pretty light scratches, which I can get out with finer sandpaper. And I don't even see this one anymore. Like, that one completely came out, and I don't even know that it needs any file work, but okay. Now I always look at the corners around the edges where the factory folded these in the machine. Always look around that, because sometimes they can be a little wobbly. A little high spot right there. I'll try my pliers on that. So I got them little flat jaw pliers again, jeweler's files, or pliers, not files. And I'm going to sit here and just kind of tweak a little bit back and forth on this and try to level it out. It's got a little high spot right in that corner. Well, that's pretty bad. It's sharp, I can feel it. Okay. that's pretty much going to do it. So right now I'm going to start out with the sandpaper stuff. So I need to gather all that up, my little blocks and everything. So, all right, so I got some 220 sandpaper on here. So I'm going to work these areas that I filed a little bit. Doing a little X pattern here.